I just got my first YouTube paycheck and I spent it on a toy. How do I even want to start this? This is a machine knitting channel and it recently got monetized, and I decided when it was monetized that I was going to spend all the money that I made off of YouTube ad money on the channel itself. Like, it's very little money at this point. I'm making about $2 a day, sometimes not even that. And I decided that I was going to reinvest all of that in the channel. So this is a knitting machine. Well, this claims to be a knitting machine. These are super popular right now, I assume because of the price point. The way that the YouTube ad money works is that it doesn't pay out until you've accumulated $100 in your account. After I put away a chunk of that for taxes, I had about just enough to buy this. This is a Sentro knitting machine. These are really popular on TikTok, I believe, right now. I'm not actually on TikTok, but bits and pieces of things filter through. I bought this on Amazon, and let me explain why I think this might be a knockoff. So I think that this might be a knockoff because of this line here. This just screams that somebody took a screenshot that was incomplete and then they filled in this bit here. And then this image down here, these are things that you cannot make on the Sentro knitting machine. These are things that you would have to knit by hand or use a much more complex knitting machine to make. And this is made in China, which is fine. A lot of our stuff is made in China, but intellectual property rights aren't really a thing in China, so it's entirely possible this is a knockoff. And like, there were a bunch of sellers on Amazon, so I don't know who's buying it from the manufacturer and who's not. But then I went and looked at the manufacturer's website, and all the promotional material also contains the weird line. And the packaging looks the same, which makes me think that this is not a knockoff. This is just the way that it is. Not how I would have done it. We're gonna open it and see. So let's unbox this bad boy. And my camera battery is gonna die in the middle of this probably. You are covered in tape. There we go. Are you upside down? Oh, you're upside down. Why are you upside down? There we go. Come out. Okay. Comes with a bit of yarn and some instructions. Tubes. Basic instructions. I should be able to do this. So, I'm a machine knitter. When I say knitting machine, I mean these big flatbed behemoths that I've been working with for a while now. I've never used one of these circular ones before, but I assume it's a similar concept to a circular sock machine. Works well with most yarns. I don't think that's true. Okay. Oh, and you were in Chinese. I took like 3 years of Mandarin in college and I remember none of it. So, this is not helpful. Do we have assembly instructions? We do not have assembly instructions. Oh, there they go. Pillars, screwdriver. Oh, they're screwed in. Suction cups. We are in my kitchen today because of the suction cups. All of my surfaces out in my studio space are textured and suction cups won't stick to them. Bigger than I expected it to be. So this is the main thing. Ooh. It's not too bad. The fact that it's already like sticking. And it doesn't even have any yarn in it yet. It's got a little row counter. A reset button. Alright, let's assemble it. It comes with some tools. gonna overheat at some point. That camera, which, is mostly out of frame, but not entirely. Very exciting as I screw the legs on the knitting machine. Okay, and then these bad boys should just pop on there. Yeah, ooh. That is harder than it needs to be. Ugh. Okay, I'm just gonna leave those on the edge. Nope, those are probably the wrong size suction cups. Okay, we're gonna call that good enough. Ooh. Okay, and then this is the tension thingy. You're dying. Okay. Well, we're gonna pause here. Had to replace a battery, but we're back. Okay. Now I want to figure out how to get the tension, it's not tension mast, but the tension thingy onto the machine. It doesn't say. Comforting, comforting. Maybe it's obvious? Turns out it's obvious. Now it's stuck to the table. I want to show you what it looks like, but it's stuck to the table. There we go. Ah! Ah! Let me show you what this thing looks like. So it's got a little springy thing on the top, so it bends up and then bends back down. Let's follow the instructions for knitting. We're gonna start with the yarn that they supplied because I assume that this is gonna work with the machine, and if not, why would they supply it? Where's your center? Yarn barf, lovely, lovely. Trash to the side. Where's your center? There you go. Okay. Pick a tension. Oh, cameras are rated. Oh, they don't even latch hooks. Ooh. No, no, thank you, please. So this is not like a circular sock machine. These are not latch hooks. These are just hooks. I think I'm gonna have to thread it and figure out how it works before I can understand how the yarn actually gets made into knitting. So let's follow the instructions for getting started, which appear to be terrible. They have videos linked, but ain't nobody got time for that. So let's see, we bring the yarn through the center. No. Yeah, these instructions are terrible. I've seen a few videos on the internet, so I'm just gonna assume I know what I'm doing. Which may or may not get me into a bunch of trouble. So, looks like you go every other needle to cast on. And we do something similar to this on knitting, on flatbed knitting machines to get a cast on started. So, okay, and then that's the starting point, and at that point I should be able to just stick it in the feeder and let it go. Oh boy. Oh, okay, I am already unhappy with this mechanism and the way that it makes its loops. Let's see if we can actually show you what's going on here. It's not a latch hook, it's just kind of hoping that the hook will come down in front of the loop and not catch any of it. So I guess if you're working with splitty yarn, you're gonna have a bad time. We're just gonna go until I finish this panel. And then I'm gonna ignore their cast off instructions. And what the hell happened to my lighting? Ah! Okay, the section cups may be more trouble than they're worth. We're just gonna build. we're just gonna deal. It's the rainy season in California. I'm fairly convinced that the tension thing is useless. And I fully understand why these people hook these up to drills. I'm gonna try to fix my lighting problem. Better? A little bit. The curtains kind of reflect more light than they trap. Running low on yarn. I'd say that's enough for a long tail bind off. The instructions they give for a bind off in the instructions, oh, that's a lot of static. Oh, it's a lot of static. The instructions they give for a bind off in the written instructions are really terrible and won't give you anything stretchy or useful. So I'm just going to finish with waste yarn and then do a sewn bind off. And this is just leftover yarn from the giant sock, which I will link to. Why are you unhappy today, yarn? There we go. All right, let's call that good enough. Oh my God, moving this is hard. If I could get the camera to come further this way, it wouldn't be so much of an issue. Come on. Okay. Yes, yes, I see you're unhappy. All right, and then I'm just assuming that to take this off of the machine, I just need to run it without any yarn in it, the way that we do everything else. So, cutting my waste yarn, if I can. And oh shit. It's not that easy, is it? There we go. Just took a couple of those. So here's my piece that just came off the machine. We gotta pull it to set the stitches. And then I'm just gonna do a sewn bind off to finish up here. So let me show you how that's done. If I can get to the end of this thing. And this comes with tapestry needles, of course, and a little crochet hook. So we are just gonna go through a loop. Come on. This is an awkward angle to do this at. Through a loop. Through another loop. Come on. Through a loop. Through another loop. All right, and then I'm gonna finish this off camera because this is an awkward angle and an awkward place to put it. So here's my sewn bind off. It is nice and stretchy, and then I'm just gonna pull off the waste yarn. Where are your ends? We may never know. Oh, that's good enough. Okay. And it's a secure, stable edge, and it's still stretchy. Wait, is that the start edge or the stop edge? What are you? Oh, that's the cast on edge? Ew. Ew. So that's my bind off. It's not super pretty, but it's not terrible. But that's the cast on edge. That is not what I would want on a finished garment. If I were making something with this, I would cast onto waste yarn and then do a sewn bind off on both ends to get something that I like out of it. Okay, so let's do the thing that people always do with these and make a beanie. But I'm not gonna make one of those like double layered ones. I'm just gonna make one with a folded brim, which I assume is doable given that there is a crochet hook. I should be able to cast on and then knit for a few dozen rows and then just pick up the cast on edge and rehang it on the hooks. So if I were making this on one of my flatbed machines, I would make a gauge swatch and then wash it and then use that to figure out how big to make the hat. But given that this is a much looser knit than you get on any kind of flatbed machine, I think I can just wing it. And like there's only one circumference. It should fit on my head. Just have to get the length right. And we're gonna measure as we go, which is something I recommend you do not do on a flatbed knitting machine, but because this is knitting without any weight, it's not gonna be stretched out in the same way, but it'll be stretched out like widthwise instead of lengthwise. So it might not be super accurate for like a perfect hat, but it should be good enough for something that's wearable. So I'm gonna use more of the recycled acrylic that I used in the giant sock, and we're gonna cast on. Leave you a long tail. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, and at this point we put it in the tension thingy. And this is just a lot of knitting. You don't need to see this. You don't need to see it either. So this is as much as I've knit, and I'm gonna say that's roughly enough to start rehanging stitches. Try to go one at a time. Can I just do that? I can just do that. So the way that I cast on with every other stitch, I'm only going to rehang every other stitch. So you go, and then you go, and you go, and you go. Oh. Not you. You. Pick up a loop, put it back on the hook. Back on the hook. Back on the hook. And then the last one should be about there. Okay. Now I'm just going to keep knitting. And then the brim will be secured in the knitting. I'm too old to lean over and do the thing. Before this gets too much further, let's do some measuring. Good rule of thumb for hats, and I have a whole video about this. I have a whole series of videos about this, is that you want a beanie to reach from the bottom of one ear over the top of your head to the bottom of the other ear. And for me, that's gonna be about 16 inches. So we need to knit half that long, which is 8 inches. So this is all stretched out on the machine right now. So I'm just gonna stretch it forward to get an idea of how long it would be. And then we're gonna lose some length gathering up the crown. So I'm gonna add an extra inch for that. So I want my final piece to be 9 inches long. 9 inches long. I'm just guessing here. This is not a good way to do this. I'm gonna give it a few more rows and then call it because it's getting close. All right, your battery's gonna die, so let's deal with that. Okay, I had to stop for a snack and deal with some camera issues. Okay, we're gonna call this hat done. Or at least the knitting is done, and now we need to take it off. And I'm going to cut a long length of yarn. and then feed it onto one of these mini tapestry needles. There are instructions. I'm going to ignore them because so far the instructions have been terrible. Can I get you? Can I get you? Ooh, oh, crap. Dropped a stitch. Okay. So now I know. That is fixable with the crochet hook. This is much easier with a latch hook. It needs to go the other way. Ah! Okay. So we come up under there, and then you come through. Come on. And then you come through. And then we go here. There's gotta be a better way to do this. I wonder. Because like that would be easy. We just let it keep going. And then I go that way. Ha! That's much easier. Okay, let me get a close-up of that. So we loopy-loop. And we loopy-loop. So let it go all the way, almost knit off, and then grab it. And then I'm going to do that the whole way around. Running out of energy because I went on a big run this morning. And I just need like a whole box of mac and cheese. And that would make life better. But I'm going to finish this first. Mac and cheese later. Oh, another dropped stitch. Just gonna stick a crochet hook in it for now. You know what? I will show you how to fix that when I get to that point. Okay, get out of there. Get out of there. Ah! Okay, 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 okay. So this is a stitch that has been dropped and laddered down, and what I'm just gonna do is hold on to it there and then come up underneath all of the ladders, and then we normally do this with a latch hook on the flatbeds, but I'm just twisting around the hook and then pulling it through. Nope, I'm on the wrong side there. So I grab the ladder, I twist it around, I pull it through. And I waited to do that until I got to this stitch so that I could just immediately put it on the bind off yarn. Okay, so there it is, and then we thread the needle through. Okay, cool. I wonder if it doesn't need weight because it relies on the yarn pulling in towards the center to keep the stitches going, which is not a bad mechanism, it's just, I don't know, it's not what I'm used to working with. And I'm actually pretty frustrated that I can only work with one stitch at a time here. I wonder where these came from. So I'm curious how long these have been around. And if, like, this has always been a thing, and it just gained popularity now. Because I've seen, like, smaller versions of a circular sock machine that just do, like, I-cord, but they're usually latch hook based and not this weird hook system that we've got going here. As this is coming off the machine, I'm getting worried that it's too short, but we'll see when I get it sorted. Because like it's stretched out when it's on the machine and you gotta pull on it to get the stitches set in the right location. All right, the last one off. And then pull them all tight. I think this might be too short. I was worried about this. That's interesting, the way these stitches stretch way out. I mean, it's an interesting detail, but like, why did that happen? Oh, because these look doubled up. So, push the needle to the inside. It gets caught on everything because the machine's in the way. And then just sew a couple big stitches through the gathers. Big stitches. Big stitches. That is woven in. And then this end, I am just going to quickly tuck inside the folded edge. I would probably go through and secure it in other ways if we're doing this differently, but I am not. Look at that, it's a hat. This is a thin yarn, so it's not very big, but let's see what it looks like. And we put on that, take down my hair, put on the hat. Yeah, it's roughly the right size. It fits. I don't know what it looks like because I'm too far from my monitor. Hold on, let me grab another hat. So, this is a hat that I made for one of my hat tutorials. It's the same yarn as this hat. Oh hey, they're even roughly the same size. I'm glad I got that part right. This is using way more than 48 stitches. This is the hat that I made on my bulky flatbed knitting machine, and this is the one I made on the Sentro 48. You can see that the stitches are a lot looser on this one. This is not going to be as warm as this one. This is for a hat tutorial that I did a while back that I'll link below. But it is doable. You can make hats. That is the thing that you can do with this machine. I'm gonna leave it there for now. I'm glad I tried it, but I don't think I'm gonna make heavy use of this machine given that I have a standard gauge and a bulky flatbed machine that can do a lot more than just make tubes. And I know it does flat panel knitting. I haven't gotten to that mode yet. I purchased this with YouTube money because I know they're popular and I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. I would not have spent my money on this otherwise because I already have 2 flatbed knitting machines. I would recommend it for like kids or teens who are interested in playing around with knits and maybe don't have the patience for hand knitting or don't have the dexterity for hand knitting. But these machines have always given me pause because I see so many people buy these and then buy the drill attachment and then try to start a small business just cranking out hats and selling them on Etsy or in other marketplaces. And I've done the math on that kind of small business before because I've considered marketing and selling my own handmade things, and I know that their margins can't be good, and I know that they have to be putting so much work into that they're not paying themselves any kind of decent hourly wage, even if they're breaking even. If you buy one of these circular knitting machines with the intention of starting a small business, please do your research and take into account materials and wear on the machine, because these are plastic and they will break down a lot more quickly than the metal knitting machines. And just all the things that go into making a hat and how many you can make and what you need to spend on supplies before you try to start a business like that. If you're interested in knitting machines and you're looking for something a little more complex than the Sentro, I have a whole video about how to buy your first knitting machine, where I will tell you how I got one of my machines for free. So even cheaper than this guy. And then if you do pick up a flatbed knitting machine, I have tons of tutorials on different projects that you can make, including this sweater. I made this one myself on my standard gauge machine. Let me know what you think of the Sentro. Let me know what you think of flatbed machines. Do you have one? Do you use it? What kinds of things can you make with a Sentro? Because I'm really curious to see, like, I've heard that you can do Fair Isle and Intarsia, but it's gonna be a lot of work to do with one of these things. I'm already thinking about how I can adapt some of the patterns that I have written for flatbed machines to be used on this Sentro. I think the dog sweater is a good starting point, and I can probably borrow my nephew and make him a sweater. Let me know if you're interested in that kind of thing. I will see what I can do. Thanks for watching. Happy knitting.